Welcome, everyone. I am Friar Tuck, and this is a restart or a new segment, depending upon how long you've been with the channel, of the hobo tutorials. Okay, so last year I released all my hobo tutorials that I had put over on Patreon. It got a lot of traction. A lot of people liked it, and those of you that have been in my live stream, you have said, hey, this is something that I want to make sure that you keep doing. So every Wednesday moving forward, I'm going to be doing the homeless or hobo tutorials. Okay, tell me down in the comments, do you prefer homeless tutorials or hobo tutorials? Which one do you think is going to be more popular as far as like wordplay? But anyways, what we're going to be talking about today is due process. Why is due process important? What does due process mean? How do you apply due process? And how does this help you if you are homeless? Because due process is the foundation of every legal proceeding that we have here in the United States. As part of the 14th Amendment and becoming a U.S. citizen, you are entitled to the right of due process. We hear the word due process, but do we actually know what due process is? Most people, I will say no. If you really want to understand who has mastered due process, you should definitely look at the IRS. Look at how they send you notices. Look at how they send you different pieces of paper and how they send it to you. And even the wording that they use, because the IRS isn't just going to send you a random paper. They're sending you a piece of paper because they know that there's something that you need to settle with them. And so they are beginning the proceedings of due process. Okay, so what does this mean? And I'm going to use a perfect example that I use all the time, which is, let's say I decide that I am the most handsome man in the world and you owe me $10,000. Well, I send you a letter and I say, okay, because I'm the most handsome man in the world and you owe me $10,000 for whatever reason. And I say you have 7 days to respond or to give me a valid reason why you are not paying this $10,000. So, the person getting it, he's going to think it's a joke. He's going to crumble it up. He's going to throw it in the trash. Well, then, after 7 days, I'm like, I haven't gotten anything. Let me send him another notice. Hey, you know what? I have given you this many days to be able to, get back to me in case that letter didn't get to you. Here is another opportunity for you to be able to fix this. You either owe me $10,000 for being the most handsome man in the world, or you need to give me a valid reason why you don't owe me this money. And what'll end up happening is that person, again, will sit there and think it's a joke and just kind of throw it away. Well, I've gone a period of essentially 21 days, which is required federally. You go through you do a series of notices, and if they do not cure, which means they do not fix the situation, they do not offer some sort of remedy, which is either they need to tell me why they don't owe me the $10,000, or they need to pay me the $10,000 because I'm the most handsome man in the world. Okay, so this is the basic foundation of due process. So how does this work for you if you are homeless? If you're homeless and you are on either private property or on public property, due process is going to be different. Okay. Also, are there signs around? Can you see any signs that say no trespassing, anything else like that? Now, you can play stupid and it will work a little bit here and there, but it's not going to work as a blanket statement. Eventually, people will get hip to this and realize, like, wait a minute, I know you know the sign because we've talked about this multiple times. But if there is a sign, well, then you can't go there. If you do go there, due process is not really what you're under. Now you're being charged criminally because a notice was given. You had ample time to not only read the notice, but to understand that it meant to move on. But because you chose to willfully violate that notice and go on to the property, therefore you are subject to criminal proceedings. Okay, but let's say that you don't see one. Now, since you don't see one, due process is going to change because you were not given an initial notice, an opportunity to be able to cure or to remedy or to fix the situation. So the property owner is going to come up and say, you can't be here. And as much as you don't like it, you're going to have to get up and leave. But, one thing that I would recommend is say, hey, by what authority? What gives you the authority to come tell me this? Because you will have patrons of the business that will impersonate the owner or management within the company just because they have an axe to grind against the homeless. So, be prepared to ask by whose authority, by what authority do you have to be able to tell me not to? Unless they can prove to you that who they are, in the same way that you have to prove to a police officer who you are, then all that they're doing is what's called hearsay. And what hearsay is just, it's blowing hot air. It's fabricated information. If there's nothing to back it up other than because they say so, because I say so does not mean anything, especially when you're doing a legal proceeding. And if you are in this process, this is the beginning of the legal proceeding, because the cops have already told the property owner that before they call them, that they've got to go through this process, because the cops are walking them through the beginning process of due process. So now you have moved, or you have sat there and said, I'm not moving. They call the police because they do happen to be management. And the police show up. And now you have another opportunity to cure. So you've been given one notice. Hey, I'm the most handsome man in the world. Give me $10,000 or a valid reason. Then you're given a second notice. Okay, here comes the police. Or, hey, I already told you once. Now I'm telling you twice. I'm not going to tell you a third time. Because after the third time, because the property owner has told you, the police officer has told you, and you still failed to comply, then at that point in time, you are carted off to jail under criminal charges, because you've been given ample notice, and you've been given a valid notice that you are not allowed to be there. Okay, so this is something for you as a homeless individual, especially if you're living in the urban environment, to fully be aware of and to be thoughtful of. Okay, because due process not only protects you, keeps you out of the legal system for petty crap, but it gives you an opportunity to kind of understand what's going on. Now, just because the person asks you to get up and go doesn't mean that you necessarily have to get up and go, because you also have another option. That option is to give a counteroffer. Yes, sir, I know I'm not, I understand you don't want me here, but if I, keep to myself, I don't make a mess, I don't piss or crap everywhere, and I am, I clean up after myself, can I stay here for the night and have a new place to go tomorrow? Well, that's a counteroffer. Okay, he may say, you know what, that sounds like a good idea as long as you don't trash the place. Well, you know what, that means if you have to come back again and he comes up there, he's already going to know who you are. But, don't come back for at least a few days. Find a couple of other spots to go to before you go back to that one. But you've already created a positive relationship between you and the individual. So now what you're doing is you are creating a social contract, the possibility of an implied or express contract. Implied means and I know, but we haven't really actually discussed it. But I know it's okay for you to be here. You know it's okay for you to be here. But this is just between you and me. Versus express means I've told my employees that it's okay that you're here as long as, and you meet this requirement, so on and so forth. So in the urban environment, this gives you an opportunity to be able to survive, to be able to find good places to stay, and not only to possibly even create safe places for you to stay, especially if the business owner knows that you're going to be there. And you could say, hey, look, I keep an eye on the place. Nobody will break in. Nobody will loot. Or if they do, I'm witness, because, so on and so forth. And because most of the time it's not the homeless that are breaking in, it's vandals, it's people that are housed up that for whatever reason decide to do that. It's never really the homeless that are doing that. They've got other crimes that they commit. And this just ain't one of them. So as a homeless person, you now can offer security, and you're offering that in exchange for a place to sleep at night. So therefore, you have negotiated yourself into a place where you can actually survive. So with that being said, let me pitch you something that I am working on. It has been suggested by a couple of subscribers, which is I am going to do probably about 7 to 8 lessons, no more than 10 lessons of contracting in everyday life. And this is the type of stuff that we would be talking about. This is the type of stuff that you would be learning. Okay, I'm going to be putting it behind a paywall, not this video. This is going to be the teaser. Okay, so if you've made it this far and you find this interesting enough to where you're like, man, I would like to learn more, I am going to be offering over on my Patreon, which you can find down in the description. It'll be in the shop. Okay, and for $20 is what I'm going to start offering it for. We don't know what it'll evolve into as I add things or enhance what it is that I offer there. But it'll be a one-time fee of $20, and you'll get lifetime access to that. That's what I'm working on building right now. If you would like to get involved in something like that, and you would like to know when it goes live, what I can do is have you send me an email, friartuck@hobotuck.com, okay? And down in the comments, let me know that you sent me an email so I know to go check. But yeah, friartuck@hobotuck.com. That way you can, I know when I actually make it live, which will probably be within the next few weeks, that this is something that you want. So I'll already have the initial link sent to you so that you can go ahead and get started. But I'm not going to go ahead and offer it live until I have at least two lessons going. That way, I can add on to it as time goes along, because I may need to change things because things change or whatever it may be. But if you're interested in something like that, let me know in the comments, send me an email, and I will send you the first introductory offer. All right. So everything else is down in the description if you want to help the channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next Wednesday Hobo tutorial.